Hello, welcome back to my channel, and happy Saturday. I hope y'all are having a fantastic day. It is 6:08 p.m. The clips that you just saw, that kind of like montage of me getting ready for my day, that didn't happen this morning. That was at like 3. I don't know about y'all. I don't know what your weekends look like, but for me, Saturday is really like my day of rest. That is when I like to chill out, and Sunday is when I get everything done for the week ahead. Doing laundry, doing like life admin stuff. Sunday's my life admin day. Saturday's my lazy bitch day. So this vlog may not be as long as I promised that it might yesterday, but that's okay. I have gotten some reading done since yesterday, and I have things to talk to y'all about. Where to begin? I'm 40% into When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, and it is still so good. We're learning more about Sydney, we're learning more about Brooklyn as a borough, and specifically her neighborhood, and we're also getting some introduction into Theo, who is one of Sydney's new neighbors. He moved in with his girlfriend into an apartment that they are gentrifying, and I cannot remember the name of the girlfriend, but she is the fucking worst. Getting to see just the stark contrast between the people moving in and the people that currently live in this neighborhood is it's interesting. It definitely gives you very big horror vibes. I don't know how much of this book I really want to dive deep into because I don't want to spoil it. I feel like the best part about this book so far is all of the small moments, all of the little things that I think are going to add up into something big. We've already had some encounters between Sydney and some pretty like aggressive white people. This is definitely big horror vibes. I would recommend it. If you haven't picked this one up yet, I would recommend it. Like I said last time, I think the reviews for this are weird, and I know that I said that if you go in expecting thriller, you might not love it, which I think is interesting because the cover of this book says thriller. I just think maybe this book was not marketed correctly, which I think does a disservice because I think this book is fantastic. So anyway, if you haven't picked it up, I would recommend it. Switching gears, I have started 2 other books just because I wanted to have more to talk to y'all about. So I asked y'all on Instagram what I should pick up, and y'all had opinions. So I asked if I should read this Greer Hendricks Sarah Pekkanen book. I'll put the picture of it right here. I honestly should probably know the title of it since I'm about to talk to you about it. You're Not Alone. I have it right here. The Death of Mrs. Westaway and Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I asked y'all which of these 3 I should start with, and everyone said I should read Sharp Objects, which I honestly think is the one I'm least excited about, and the one that I was most excited about y'all said sucked. A lot of y'all said don't read You're Not Alone, but I decided to pick it up anyway. I'm 50% in, and honestly, I'm having a good time. I have an interesting history with this author duo because the book An Anonymous Girl I liked, but their other title I really actively didn't like, so I'm curious to see how I feel about this one. So far, I'm enjoying it, and I just feel like compared to a lot of the other mystery thrillers, it's interesting. I don't know, I just feel like so often we're faced with like married couple going through marital issues or cheating spouses or missing children, and in this story, it's none of those things, and the plot of the book is interesting. I just think that this author duo tends to write things that are very, I mean, they're not groundbreaking, right? But like they're fun to read. So in this story, we have our main character, and for the life of me, I cannot remember her name. She ends up witnessing someone throwing themselves in front of a subway in New York. She is really impacted by this. The person who jumped in front of the train is named Amanda. The girl, our heroine, the person I can't remember the name of, she is intent on figuring out more about Amanda because she just saw this one horrible aspect of her life and she wants to kind of know more about her. So she goes on this quest to figure her out. Whenever she ends up going to the wake or the memorial service, she ends up meeting some of Amanda's friends, and the story gets very weird from there. Amanda's friends are definitely more than meets the eye. There's 2 sisters, Jane and Cassandra, and definitely have some ulterior motives. We don't really know what those are yet, but we know they're a little dicey. They're a little strange. We know that they were tracking Amanda up until her last moments. She had this tracking necklace she was wearing up until, she threw herself in front of said train. We are wondering if this was something that the sisters, Cassandra and Jane, were expecting. Like, did they expect Amanda to end her own life? And I'm curious because Cassandra and Jane are befriending our heroine, who I can't remember the name of, and I don't know. It's hard to know who the bad guy is here. Is it Cassandra and Jane and these kind of like girls that they have been collecting for their various skills, or is it something kind of scary with our heroine? I don't really know, and I've just never read anything like this before. I feel like it's a fresh, interesting idea. I don't read that many thrillers though, so like who am I to say if this is like such a bold idea? I've heard the ending is unsatisfying, so I don't know kind of where I'm at on that, but so far so good. I'm curious to see what unfolds, and I may or may not spoil later on kind of what happens, because I feel like most people have already read this one, and I'll obviously give a spoiler warning, but kind of enjoying it. And then switching gears, I did start Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I'm like 5% into this one. It definitely has that signature Gillian Flynn like grit to it. It's giving me kind of Dark Objects vibes. Dark Objects? Dark Places? Sharp Objects, Dark Places. Sorry, had a moment there. I think I read Dark Places, Gillian Flynn's other book for Spookathon daily vlogs. So it just felt right to pick up this one. Anyway, this is her debut, and I don't know what to expect. Our heroine has gone back to her hometown because there have been some disappearances of young girls, and that's all I know so far. But it's seeming creepy. I know that there's going to be kind of mother-daughter dynamics there because she's having to go and stay with her mom, who she has been reluctant to stay with. So far so interesting. Honestly, like I'm having a good time with all 3 of these books. It might be ambitious, but I would like to finish all of them today. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. I definitely want to finish When No One Is Watching, and then the Career Hendricks, Sarah Pekkanen. I want to finish those 2 today. Mostly because I'm further into them, and I think that's like more realistic for me. I'm about to go grab some dinner with Hayden. After that, I will keep y'all posted, and hopefully I'll have some more exciting updates for you. Honestly, every July I forget that fireworks are a thing, so if you hear any of that in the background, my apologies. Also, if you hear any strange sounds, it's probably my dog freaking out because he doesn't like the fireworks. So I'm like 75% into You're Not Alone, and I just wanted to update y'all because things are heating up, and I don't know that I'm liking the way that things are heating up. I'm understanding what people are saying about this book. I feel like it is a little bit basic, so I am going to get kind of into spoilers. I mean, I don't know how the book ends yet, but if you find the plot of thrillers to be spoilers, then you might not want to listen to this. But essentially, our heroine that I couldn't remember the name of, Shay, she has been hanging out with Jane and Cassandra. They've like kind of befriended her, and they have decided to use Shay as kind of the scapegoat for a murder that I don't want to say everyone has committed, but that Amanda, Cassandra, Jane, and some of their other friends committed, right? So I think their friend Daphne was sexually assaulted by a man named James, and so they decide that they are going to harm James. And I don't know if death was really the intent there, but that's kind of what happened. Like, James is dead. They've been able to kind of get away with the murder, which has been great, but I guess Amanda was just suffering from kind of like guilt about it, and that is why she threw herself in front of the train. And I guess in some bid to hope that this like murder doesn't unravel, the girls, Cassandra and Jane, have decided that they're going to frame Shay for this murder. The way that they're going to do that is by getting Shay to be Amanda. There's some similarities in looks between the 2 of them, and the girls are helping Shay to kind of like dress like Amanda did, and they got her to live in Amanda's old apartment. I guess Shay just like didn't catch on to any of this, but she is being used as the scapegoat for this murder that she didn't have anything to do with, which is kind of fucked up, but she is also kind of intelligent, so I'm wondering if she's going to catch on at some point. At this point, the police are now at Amanda's place, or Shay's place, I guess, and they are asking Shay why she has the murder weapon and where she's been and whatever. That's kind of where we're at, so much to think about, much to consider. I think it all is going to come down to what the twists and stuff are like at the end of this book. Is it going to be enough to keep me interested? Fingers crossed. I also definitely overestimated how much time I would have to read tonight, because it's already 10 o'clock and I still have an hour of this audiobook left, so I don't think I'll be able to finish When No One Is Watching, but I'm hoping to at least get farther into it so I can give y'all updates, and then maybe I'll update you one more time tomorrow, because I've decided that I'm posting this vlog tomorrow morning. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish up You Are Not Alone. Let me try to hold this steady. It's 11 p.m. I just finished You Are Not Alone. I can definitely understand why people don't like this book. I can actually tell you why I don't like it without spoiling it, which love that, but I will spoil it in a little bit. So anyway, I do not like when shit comes out of left field and someone who you would never possibly expect to be the person who done it, or like the culprit or whatever, is the person who done it. Does that make sense? I like logic in my thrillers. I don't mind guessing who the person that has done it is, if it makes sense, if we're like slowly given clues at as the course of the story unfolds. This didn't have that. The person who is kind of like the key player in the story is revealed at like the 75% mark. A, it wasn't that interesting, and then B, I don't really like when stuff is just kind of thrown at us. So anyway, I'm gonna just talk about the spoilers so I can get into the details. So we find out that Cassandra and Jane have an older sister. She is part of the friend group that we have been hearing about. I think it's like Valerie, Daphne, Cassandra, and Jane, the four of them. The guy that they murdered was the stepbrother of Cassandra, Jane, and Valerie. And this person also assaulted Daphne. So they all worked together to murder James. And it was all Valerie's idea. And she is the person who's been in charge this whole time. And she is the one that is just so bold. I don't know, like having her at the 75% mark be the person who was in charge of all of this, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. It didn't feel clever or interesting enough for it to be like the main twist here. And that's the thing, there weren't really a lot of reveals as the story went on. I mean, I guess you could consider the girls trying to get Shay to become Amanda, you could consider that to be kind of like twisty. It was so transparent that it didn't really feel twisty. So I don't know, I just felt like this was okay. It's not the worst thing that I've ever read, but I'd probably still give it 2 stars. Yeah, I would consider this to be on par with the other Greer Hendricks, Sarah Peckinham book that I read that I didn't like. So maybe it'll be an alternating thing. Maybe the next release will be one that I like. I don't know. I haven't given up on this author duo, and like they do write in a way that is enjoyable, fast-paced, exciting. I will say of all of their books, this was maybe the most boring of the 3. There were times kind of, I would say, between the 50% and 75% mark where I felt like stuff was a little bit slow, but overall like it wasn't the worst reading experience. So I'm not super upset that I read it. I do think though that I'm going to carry on with When No One Is Watching tonight. I just kind of want to be scared before I go to sleep. I don't know, it just sounds kind of fun. And I'll just let y'all know like my final thoughts on that one, because again, I don't really want to spoil that particular one because I want y'all all to pick it up, but that's where I'm at. I'll give y'all one final update tomorrow morning, and then you can hang out with me again tomorrow. I'm not gonna remember this though tomorrow morning. You can bet your bottom dollar. So I'm just gonna let y'all know right now in the comments. I would love it if you would leave any questions you might have for me, because I would love to answer some questions for the next vlog. I feel like these past 2 have been so reading heavy, which is fun, but I want to have some like, you know, more lifestyle content. I think Hayden's going to a 4th of July party tomorrow, so I'm going to be home alone, just chilling, and I would love to know if you have any questions for me. Book recommendations, I can give you those if you have any specific ones, or if you just want to know about wedding stuff, or I keep saying wedding stuff because I don't have anything else interesting going on in my life right now, but that's where I'm at. I'm going to go finish this book, and I'll be back tomorrow morning to close this vlog out. Hello, good morning. It's like 11 a.m. I finished When No One Is Watching this morning, and it was brilliant. I gave it 5 stars. I loved this book so much. I did end up looking at my friends' reviews of this book just to kind of see in more detail like what their issues were with it, and I don't agree. I think a lot of people had issues with the pacing. People were like, oh, I liked the, you know, commentary, and I liked, you know, the horror of the gentrification being used in a thriller context, but I didn't like the pacing, and I just couldn't disagree more. I loved the pacing of this book. The beginning was like slow, I guess you could say, but I never felt bored, and then it just slowly starts building and building and building and climaxes at the very end. I don't know, I didn't feel like the pacing of this was weird at all. I liked the execution. I think if there's one thing I could say, I kind of wish there had been a slightly more satisfying and or conclusive ending, but I also think that the ending worked with the way the story was set up, so I'm not like upset about it. And honestly, just overall, I really liked this. I think this is probably my favorite thriller that I've read this year. I can't really think of any other one that has had this kind of impact on me. So if you're looking for a good thriller, I would recommend picking this one up. I thought it was great. With that being said, I'm so hungry. I need to go get breakfast immediately. I guess it's 11 and I could eat lunch, but for me, I like eating breakfast no matter what time of day I wake up. I'm gonna go do that, and I will see y'all bright and early tomorrow morning with the next vlog. Thanks so much for watching. Love y'all so much, and until tomorrow.